Hey everyone, Dylan here with May Reed. We're going to talk today about following kind of like a scheduled food program or like following a diet. What? I like programming. I
I know, I was gonna say, you can say like following a diet, it's okay.
Well, following a diet. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. What are your suggestions about all of that stuff?
Yeah, so kind of how we wanted to approach this is like, what should you think about when you're thinking about following a diet? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like, is this diet going to work for me? Is it
Yeah.
going to do what I want it to do?
Yeah.
Those are the kind of the questions that you should be asking yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are kind of the things that if a client comes into a consultation, or if, you know, a family member asks me randomly and I text or whatever, these are kind of the things I would think through, because it's not always as black and white as just, oh yeah, this diet's great, everybody should do it, or no, that diet's horrible, nobody should do that. There is some of that, but like, it's usually not that black and white. Like, even if you think about it, you and I would have very, very different nutrition needs.
Yes.
We couldn't say like, oh yeah, we can follow the same diet and it'll be fine. It will not be fine.
No. It would not be fine.
It would not be fine. So from there, like, you kind of already mentioned it. The first thing would be, like, if you come in and you say, I want to follow this diet, I'd say, okay, great. What's this diet supposed to do? And then we would, or like, what is it shown to do in the research, as much as we're able to tease it out, because nutrition research kind of changes.
Yes.
And then, like, what are your goals? So if your goals are, you know, fat loss, muscle gain, managing blood sugars, heart health, maybe it's something like managing digestive issues, I don't know, whatever it is. Does the diet changes you want to actually make, are they shown to match with that? Because if they don't, we're not going to be setting ourselves up for success, right?
Yes.
So that's usually the first thing, is like, does the goal match what the diet's supposed to do? Yes? Okay, cool. We can move on from there. No? Okay, let's look at what diet things would actually match that and go from there. From a nutrition standpoint, the other thing would be, like, are we setting ourselves up for any nutritional problems? And that's something that maybe more, like, with my background and training, I'm able to tease out. So are we going to be getting enough total food, or are we going to be really restrictive, right? What are your energy needs? And are we going to be meeting those? And then looking at like macronutrients, so like your protein, fat, carbs. If you're cutting anything out, what's that going to impact?
So if you're cutting out coffee.
If we're cutting out coffee's not a macronutrient. I know that's new information. If you're cutting out coffee, what's the impact going to be? If you're very reliant on coffee, is that going to be a problem? Right? Okay. Or like, what's the end goal of cutting out the coffee? Things to think about, right? That would be an example. But yeah, like carb, protein, fat. Are you going to be low on fiber? Are there like micronutrients? Like maybe you are cutting out dairy for some, I don't know why, for some reason. Where else are we going to get calcium? Like, making sure a lot of those things we can troubleshoot. Like there's options, but we need to make sure we're aware of it. Similarly, like if you have a history of low iron and then you want to go vegan, like that's fine. We can make that work, but we may need to be really strategic about like what you're having. We may need some supplements, those kind of things.
Yes.
Just, are there things like that we need to look at?
So that you can get that iron in your system, so you,
Or whatever it is. Like, how can we meet those needs within the diet that you want to follow?
Yep.
It's kind of, I guess, the thought. And then from a practical standpoint, there's all the like,
are you going to be able to sustain this diet?
yeah, any diet changes we're doing, I'm always thinking long term, right? Like, so I ask clients, like, can you see yourself following this like a year, 2 years? Ideally forever, but like we can't wrap our brains around that.
It's not necessarily, yes, I can follow this diet for 2 weeks, maybe 3 months, but then after that, I'm going to fall off the diet. Then you're thinking more, can you follow it for that
I'm
year?
thinking like really long term, so that whatever the changes you want are, we can get there, right?
You're going to see the changes.
Yeah, you can see whatever the changes are. So in that case, like, we're looking at how wildly different is the diet you want to follow from how you're currently eating. If it's like night and day, could you do it? Maybe.
Yeah, there's a chance for sure that
Yeah.
you potentially follow it, but there's a chance that you won't follow it for sure. I can see that.
In which case, maybe there's some baby steps in between, right? Like, can we, I don't know, it would depend on what the diet is, but can we take a couple steps towards the diet you want to follow without like jumping straight to it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're not going from the shallow end to the deep end.
Not like in one jump, right? Easing yourself in it might set you up for success, or you might find like you can get similar results without going
crazy over.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, that makes total sense. I like that. Like, try and figure out that plan and try and do baby steps towards that plan. And big thing is making sure that diet is going to do what you are wanting it to do for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. That's all we got for today. That's about like talking about the diet and everything, things to look at, things to think about when you're doing with the diet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for joining, everyone, and yeah, hope to see you soon.
See you later.